I thought Jalen was great tonight.
I thought he played great.
I did, John. He's the reason they're 1-0.
I did. I thought he had a really good football game. If it wasn't for him on the field,
this is why
they don't win.
Let's go to our man, John McMullen, joining us right now on the JAKIB Postgame Show. Johnny Mac, welcome into the Postgame Show. The Eagles are 1-0 as we sit here today, John. A crazy game. Had a little bit of everything, some offense, some defense, a weather delay, an ejection in there. John, your first couple thoughts, man, just your first thing that comes to mind when I ask you about that game and what kind of just ensued at the Lincoln Financial Field.
Yeah, crazy game. You think about how it started. Couldn't have started worse. You probably lose Ben Van Sumeren for the year. I mean, that looks serious on the opening kickoff. And then as you're waiting for them to cart him off, which is, depressing enough for the Eagles, then Jalen Carter gets into it with Dak Prescott. And all of a sudden, they say he's been ejected from the game, and we're all looking at each other. Did he say, it's the first foul towards ejection, or did he say ejection? And he said ejection. So it started from there, and then, the offenses were killing it early. It was, Eagles, it was touchdown, 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 touchdown. The Eagles scored 3 consecutive touchdowns. And then all of a sudden stopped from an offensive standpoint. But, like, this is the Eagles. They find ways to win games. Wasn't pretty. If CeeDee Lamb catches some footballs, they probably lose. But for whatever reason, they take advantage of these miscues from other teams and find ways to finish games. Same thing happened with Green Bay. They made a bunch of mistakes, and they won the game in Brazil. Offense, great running game, passing game, not there. Does that sound familiar? Very, 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 very Philadelphia Eagles-y like football. And, that's win in advance, win and move on to the next one. And that's what they were able to do.
John, I'll ask you this. I thought the Cowboys, I was shocked. I thought their offensive line, and obviously with the loss of Carter, that affected it. But I thought their defensive line, their offensive line, they averaged 5.5 yards a carry against that Eagle defense. They were moving the sticks, and they were moving the football, as you said. They were scoring at will also in the first half. But I was, it just goes back to Dickerson again, and maybe you can give us an update on his health, bud. Boy, Mulata had a rough night. They
did. Yeah.
Around him, he had a rough one tonight. And did you find anything out on Dickerson? Because, boy, he looked like he was laboring a lot throughout that game, even before he got hurt.
Yeah, no, just that it's the back, it's not the knee. Obviously, he missed practice Monday and then came back on Tuesday. And he's trying to play through it. So we'll see how long. Now he's got sort of the mini bye. So hopefully that enables him to calm it down a little bit. But like I said, we're through one game. He couldn't get through the game. Brett Toth had to come in. He's already had 2 knee surgeries in the offseason, the back issue now. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on. I do think that Jordan didn't have a typical game up to his standard. I thought everybody else was pretty good. The Eagles, I don't think Dallas ran the ball that well. If you look at it, from a larger standpoint, Miles had the 149-yard run. And that's, that's like 21 carries for basically 60 yards after that. So I think they did a pretty good job from the running game as a whole. And Miles needs to get in there because Zach Bond, if you think about that, that's one of the biggest plays of the game because Zach Bond was able to chase him down. And then a couple plays later was the fumble inside the 10. And the Cowboys went from threatening to go up to never taking the lead again. So I think in a lot of ways that was the play of the game. It was Byron Young, interestingly, because you lose Jalen Carter, and Byron Young's playing all these snaps because you lose Jalen Carter, and he might have won the game for you. There's a lot of other things that happened, but CeeDee Lamb had multiple chances to put Dallas in a
He
position
was
to win the
terrible.
game. Oh, well,
If
it's
he makes
interesting.
big catches, we're talking about
He
different.
made a lot. He made a lot of big catches early, and then he just started dropping the football. But he was open, and those passes were there, and he
Yeah.
can catch him. And if he's supposed to be one of the best receivers in football, you got to catch those passes. And I'm sure I'm sure he talked about that. But yeah, I mean, he had 110 receiving yards, and he could have had 200. So, but the Eagles tend to take advantage of those things, and they did again today. AJ Brown, that's going to be a story. He didn't get a target until a minute and 45 left in the game.
What do you make of that, John? I mean,
well, they didn't throw the ball. DeVonta had 3 catches for 16 yards. AJ had 1 for 8, and Jahan Dotson had the one big play for 51, and he made some big catches. So, personality of the game, I always talk about. They were running the football. Like early in the game, I don't know what Dallas was trying to do defensively, because they were letting Jalen Hurts just break contain. And I'm like, what are you doing? It's like they didn't even know he was a quarterback who could run the football. They weren't disciplined. They got out of their rushing gaps. And that was the Eagles' success early on offense. It was really Jalen running the football in big spots, and then the second half, things calmed down from both teams' perspectives offensively. With Dallas, it was the CeeDee Lamb drops. With the Eagles, it was similar to the Eagles. Eventually somebody makes a stop. There was one Saquon Rush where he got stopped for a 5-yard loss, and all of a sudden you're behind the chains, and that changes everything. So, that's why we always talk about the difficulty of playing just a run-oriented team without being able to pass. All you need is that one play to set you back, and all of a sudden the drive's basically over. So that's kind of what happened to the Eagles in the second half.
How about this, John? I say this all the time about September. September's a liar's month in the NFL, because you really don't know what you're looking at. You don't know what it is. I mean, last year we saw a 2-2 team. Then after that, they went on to go on and win themselves a Super Bowl. And we mentioned it earlier in the pregame with the Saints, and also, I mean, premonition stuff here are things you can be concerned about when you're looking. Adoree Jackson was brutal. I mean, I thought he got benched in the first half, but they put him back out there, I saw, in the second half. And, man, he just did not look very good back there. So, I mean, is this something to be concerned about moving forward? Or do you think, again, we're looking at week 1 bumps and bruises?
Well, I don't think you're great at that position. I think ultimately they will go to Bennett. It might be as early as week 2. Because they have the extra time, sort of the mini bye, coming off Thursday to 10 days off. So that could be a position where you make the move. Ultimately, they want to go to Bennett. They want to go to Makubo full time, which he played safety in the nickel. Sidney did in the base, so he's playing most of the time anyway. And then Campbell obviously played linebacker, made some plays too, did a good job in coverage on that one pass breakup. He was involved in that fumble as well. So he made some plays as a rookie. They want to get those young guys on the field. But Bennett just got here in August. So, it takes some time, and I think they'll get there. But the question is, he might not be good enough either. What they don't have is Darius Slay, and he's not coming through that door. So you're going to have to persevere with, Howie brought this up, and I thought it was an astute point. People will say cornerback is a weakness for the Eagles. It's not a weakness. You have Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. Who won 1-2? What the spoiled nature is you had Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, and Darius Slay. And now you got two really good corners and then just a guy. So, hey, welcome to the rest of the NFL. They don't have two good corners most of the rest of the NFL.
That's true.
So
Well,
that's
John,
what,
how do you think how do you think Q played tonight? I mean, I thought it was
I thought he played pretty well. I think it would
was
look
okay.
better. Well, you got that pass interference. I'm not sure. You guys probably got a better look than me. I saw a lot of people, but Eagles fans think every call goes against them.
Oh, that was a pass interference, John. That was
yeah.
he was
Well,
all
I
over.
thought it was a pass interference, but I got a bunch
he was all over him.
Yeah, I got a bunch of it wasn't that type of thing, but I always do. But if he had that interception, he had a chance for an interception that went right through his hands. If he would have picked that off, I think it would have changed the narrative a little bit. But no, I thought he was fine. Cooper got beat too by CD, but CD dropped the football. CD's open, but he was dropping the football. So it would probably look worse if he caught those big plays he had and left on the field. But overall, I'm pretty confident in Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. All corners are going to get beat from Patrick Surtain on down. Every single one of them is going to get beat. So these people that say, "Oh, Quinyon got beat," yeah, all right.
Welcome to the
better
NFL.
Than most of his peers. Yes.
Hey,
yes.
Welcome to the NFL, John.
John,
They're good. Hey, John, they're good too.
Right. John, what'd you make of Kevin Patullo's first game as a play caller for the Eagles?
Well, I just saw Kevin downstairs. I thought he did. They went touchdown. That's a pretty good way to start. But I thought it looked very Eagles offense. I've been saying it looked very familiar to last year's offense. I thought they did some nice job underneath Dallas Goedert. He had like 7 targets, I think, and 7 receptions, but 6 yards a pop. Saquon had 4 catches, but it was like 6 yards a pop. The only guy who made a big play down, DeVonta was under those. He was under them, I think.
It was.
The only guy who made a play down the field was Jahan Dotson. Yeah. That's it.
And it's funny, John. John, it's funny. That's the guy that's worked the most with Jalen in this offseason throughout him working, down in Houston and him working in training camp. And I think it's kind of ironic that the guy who had the bigger game tonight is the guy who had been working with him. And to your point, AJ just hasn't been practicing. I mean, and it surely looked like it.
Yeah, well, he hasn't. Yeah. And DeVonta missed a lot of time as well. But
yeah,
I think a lot of it, Dallas played the Eagles like in the passing game. They played the Eagles like the Eagles played Kansas City in the Super Bowl. They took away the first read, and then Jalen would usually pull it down and run it because they let him. And there were a couple times later in the game when they started to be a little bit better disciplined. He was dumping it off to Barkley a little bit later in the game. Will Shipley got hurt. That wasn't a pass. That was the other big pass, but they turned that into a run because evidently it was behind the line of scrimmage. The little swing pass to Will Shipley went for about 20 yards to set up one of the touchdowns. He's a really good receiver, but that's your concern with Will Shipley. He's hurt already, banged up his ribs, and didn't come back in the game. So they did some nice underneath stuff, but they got nothing outside the numbers, with the one exception, and that was not even outside the numbers, but that was a deep shot down the middle of the field to Jahan, which was 51 yards, which was great throw. But that was it. I mean, that was it. They did not throw the ball outside the numbers. It was crazy.
John, that was one of the things that was a standout tonight. But hey, I want to go back to you're concerned heading in. Boy, those edge guys, man. I mean, I saw a little bit. I saw a play by Hunt. He got back in the backfield, but I got to tell you, John, I mean, those guys were no shows tonight. I mean, Dak sat
Well,
back.
I thought Nolan had a couple good plays, but he ruined the one. He had that great run stop, and then he got the taunting penalty.
I think that was a dumb call by them. I thought it was like a overreaction, but okay.
Well, I agree. Well, generally, I agree with that. I think it's ridiculous how quick with the trigger they are with the taunting. So from an overall perspective, I agree with you. But and again, you guys see it on TV probably better than I do. From me, it looked like he was standing over him and looking at him, and that's when they call it. Like you can do that same thing as long as you're looking at your teammate.
That's right.
But if you stand over the player you just stopped, they're going to call that taunting. To me, that's what it looked like. I don't know if it looked like that on TV, but anyway, either way, you don't put the referees in a position where they can do that. So I'm not going to give an excuse, but I do think that Nolan made a couple plays, had a couple pass rushes. He also got beat around a little bit by Tyler Smith, but I didn't see anything from anybody else other than that one play you're talking about with Hunt. Oh, Uche was probably the best.
Yeah, he
had two good rushes. I saw that really hurried Prescott. He looked like the best pass rusher to me.
He did actually.
He's by far the most technically sound pass rusher. Like he's got a nice spin move. He goes inside. He goes out. He's got a big toolbox, as they say.
Hey, John. There's somebody brought something up here, and I want to get your take on this here with Carter. I'm going to call it the Dre, and I called it the Draymond Green factor. Boy, I'll tell you what, man. If this guy's looking for referees not to have him, get those double teams and maybe the holding penalties, man, I'll tell you what, you now put yourself in a position because now we're putting things together. A year ago, the guy, on the sideline, now we have this here, the stuff. Again, when you do things, John, your past gets brought to the present and you start putting a book together, and these refs are going to not give him the benefit of the doubt on this stuff now. And I think that's going to be a tough putt for him moving forward the rest of the year because they're not going to give him the benefit of the doubt if he's in there battling it up with guys and those holding calls. I mean, I think this is going to play a factor with him a little bit because now you get tagged as a player a bit.
Well, yeah, you definitely can get a reputation in the league.
Dominican Sue.
Yeah. Dominican's a good example of it. It's interesting. They're similar too. When Dominican came here, I was almost like, ooh, do I want to deal with this guy? Is this going to be a problem? And he was the nicest guy in the world. And it's so strange to me because same thing. I wish people could meet Jalen Carter. He's the most quiet, polite, unassuming kid you'll ever meet. And then he gets on the football field and he's a lunatic at times. And that's a good thing normally, because you want guys to play with aggression and passion and all that. But he takes it too far. And he apologized after the game. He talked and he said, I put my teammates in a bad position, but and Jalen Hurts said, well, an unwise man doesn't learn from it. A wise man obviously learns from it. So we'll see if he learns from it. But yeah, you can't put your team in that position.
That's terrible. John, are you concerned at all about the immaturity level of the team at large? If you think about it, John, we talked about the youth on this team. One of the younger teams in football, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Darius Slay is gone. Brandon Graham is gone. Josh Sweat is gone. I'll even throw CJ Gardner-Johnson in there and Milton Williams, Oren Burks. A lot of guys that add up to a lot of years of experience are gone, and you got a lot of youth taking over. There's pros to that, and there's cons to that. Do you think the immaturity is going to become a problem? If I'm Vic Fangio, I'm trying to figure out how to nip this in the bud early.
Yeah, well, with Jalen Carter, it's a problem. With Nolan Smith, it's a problem. With some guys, it isn't. Like Jordan Davis, it's not. With Zach Bond, who's not, a little bit older, but he's not old. It's not. Reed Blankenship, certainly not a problem. So it depends on the person. Quinyon's not a problem at all. Cooper's not a problem. So, most of them are, I would say, mature beyond their years. Really, you're talking about two players, and you saw it today, who are a little bit, I don't even know if immature is the right word, but
high strung.
Yeah, I mean, and they play a position, and Dan can tell you, you don't want choir boys out there playing defensive line. But it's a fine line. You don't want like in Dominican, you bring him, you don't want him stepping on people's helmets, and you don't want people spitting on other people so they get thrown out of the game.
Jeez.
I mean, you got to be able to. It's an emotional game, but you got to be able to control it to that level.
I mean, we're talking about making him one of the highest paid defensive players in football, John. You got to think Jeffrey Lurie is looking at
the
whole body of work with Jalen. As good as he is, at what point does the player grow up a little bit? I get it. I agree with you. I don't want a choir boy either. I've actually been one guy who says, I love the aggression of Carter. I loved when he slapped the Pittsburgh guy in the helmet last year, but you just said it. There's a fine line. And if you're Jeffrey Lurie, I'm wondering if he's the one who has the conversation with him, because that's his big bag of money he's going to give him.
Well, yeah. Well, and it's funny because I was talking about his contract with Sal before the game today. And, I told Sal, I said, yeah, people are assuming this guy's going to get more than Micah. I wouldn't assume that just yet.
I wouldn't either.
I'm like, he's got to have a big year. And one, he just ruined the first game of that big year. So he's got a long way to go before he's in the $40 million conversation. I think people are jumping the gun on that. Now, the Eagles think he's going to be in that conversation. But this is not off to a good start. Let's put it that way.
John, do you think that the last two games that Barkley's been in, the Super Bowl and this game here, do you think they're starting to get a blueprint on how to stop Saquon Barkley a bit? Because, boy, I'll tell you, I thought they really did
I thought he had a good game today.
They did.
I thought he really had an effective. I know the numbers don't look good because he had a couple big losses mixed in there. But I think overall he was a handful, and they were really having a difficult time, especially early in the game, dealing with him. And then Hurts too. To me, they won the game on the ground with those two players.
Well, Johnny was 3-3 a game. He was 3-3 a carry in this game.
Yeah, I know, but you
he
out
was at 6'2" last year for the entire season.
He was at like 5'6" until the downturn happened. And there was the big 5-yard loss, and there was another, I think, 3-yard loss. And they were keying on him at that point when they're trying to close out the game. And that's where the passing game's got to show up. Which, we're going to have the same discussion. I know Zander, for the giveaway, put the number of 275. You're not going to get to 275 much when you're throwing for 152.
Well, when you target AJ Brown one time and DeVonta Smith 3 for 15 yards,
that's the point.
But the defensive giveaway, John, it hit. The defensive giveaway hit.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not picking on it. 275 shouldn't be that bad, but it is with this team in certain games.
Isn't it funny, John? You can't get to 275 in an NFL game throwing the ball, and yet you kill teams.
Right.
Well, it's not even 275. It's 275 all purpose.
I know,
So,
I get right, and they killed.
so
teams.
he's got 62 all rushing yards today. So you only needed 213. If I'm doing the math right, you only needed 213, and they're not close to 213.
No way.
It's a very bizarre team.
Totally.
And I think they played well. It's a very bizarre team.
I thought Jalen was great tonight.
I thought he played great.
I did,
John. He's the reason they're 1-0.
I thought he had a really good football game. If it wasn't for him on the field,
this is why
they don't win.
And this is why people say, well, he's not really as good as he is, because they look at the numbers and they look at the black and white. And if you watch the game, you go, I mean, the first half, I was like laughing at Matt Eberflus. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He's just, no discipline on the pass rush. They're just letting him get outside.
Hey, John, how about Brian Schottenheimer at the end when you had 3 timeouts left and 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes left? They're going for 15-yard plays with the clock winding down, and you're sitting there going like, why aren't you trying methodically to go up and down the field? They're playing zone deep too. Why don't you get?
Well, yeah, but they had shots. They had shots to see. They had shots to their best player, and their best player dropped the damn ball.
I could not believe CD should have 210 yards in this game.
Yes, I mean that one pass down. The last one, that was a difficult catch.
That was a tough catch.
Made it.
Yep.
He should have made it because he had 2 hands on it, but he should have made it. But that was a difficult catch. The one before that, which would have been a 50, 60-yard gain. I mean, that was right in the breadbasket. He just dropped it.
He did. He just dropped it. Cole dropped it.
Johnny Mac, good stuff, man. Appreciate you joining in tonight. Your final thought on Eagles game 1. We got a Birds 365 in the morning, brother. I'll let you get out of here. Your final thought tonight.
Hey, nice drive home, John, in traffic.
No, well, there will be no traffic at least. They're a very strange team and a very good team. It's I always go back to Denny Green was the first one who told me that winning is a habit, losing is a habit.
Right.
They have a habit of winning.
Yep.
And they just keep winning games. They keep put them in front of them, knock it down, go to the next one, and they won again. It's pretty impressive.
It is.
It really is. Johnny Mac, great show, brother. I'll catch you in the morning.
Hey,
all right,
John.
All right, thanks, guys.